She's in violation. Cynthia Bellamy, president of our HOA board, barked as two uniformed officers shoved my teenage niece against the side of a patrol car. The metal rang out as her shoulder slammed into it, her voice breaking into a scream that carried through the cul-de-sac. Cynthia's smirk didn't budge. Her sunglasses reflected the whole neighborhood like she owned every blade of grass, every porch swing, every single one of us standing there, holding our breath. Public indecency, she added, pointing at Ava's shorts like they were a loaded weapon. But Cynthia didn't know what I carried in my back pocket. Those officers' body cams, I said, not blinking. They're still streaming to the county's oversight server, live. I let the words hang there, watched the color drain just a bit from her face before she glued that plastic smile right back on. And that, right there, is why you don't want to blink. Every neighborhood tyrant eventually stumbles when the receipts come out. My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm a systems engineer, municipal surveillance networks, body cams, the whole Big Brother suite. The firmware those SWAT cams run. I helped design it before I moved back here to care for my late sister's girl. Cynthia always pegged me as the quiet uncle, just another face behind the hedges. She couldn't have been more wrong. This wasn't just property lines to me. This was where my sister, Rachel, took her last walk, where she carved her initials into the oak tree out front, my anchor when the fines and threats started piling up. Now, with Ava pinned like a criminal for wearing shorts, that promise I made Rachel, keep her safe, keep the house standing, burned hotter than anything Cynthia could threaten me with. Neighbors froze on their lawns, some clutching phones, filming in shaky silence. Others just looked away, afraid Cynthia's wrath might land on them next. But I couldn't look away. Every scrape, every hiss of the engine, every second of humiliation, she staged it all to remind us who held the keys around here. The irony? Cynthia's muscle, her little show of force, ran on tech I built, wired to betray her the second she crossed the line. My skills weren't just background trivia. They were the only thing standing between Ava and a scar she'd carry for life. I thought of Rachel again, her last words in that hospital bed. Keep her spirit unbroken. And as those cuffs clicked shut, I swore Cynthia would regret turning our street into her stage. Cynthia folded her arms, chin high, and declared, "This community has standards," like she was handing down a royal decree. But her audience was the neighbors on their porches, folks she'd kept in line with fines over garden flags, threats about mailbox paint, all the little rules she twisted into weapons. No one spoke up. The same silence that had let her run wild kept everyone rooted in place. I stayed put until the patrol car rolled away. Cynthia turned to me, voice syrupy and dangerous. "Maybe you'll think twice before ignoring board directives." She glided off to the HOA office, her fortress of drawn blinds and secret meetings. Out front, a line of neighbors clutched violation slips and lien notices. Fear was Cynthia's architecture. That's when I saw Terrell Gaines, the HOA's maintenance supervisor, leaning against the porch rail, clipboard in hand, eyes flicking to me like he wanted to say something but bit it back. Terrell knew every busted pipe, every camera that never worked. If anyone was caught between loyalty and conscience, it was him. He turned away, but I filed that look for later. Back at my place under Rachel's oak, I pulled out my laptop. Didn't even need to hack. The city never yanked my contractor credentials. The oversight portal showed Ava's arrest, raw and uncut. I grabbed the stream, saved it to my drive. Cynthia thrived on controlling the narrative, letters, staged photos, selective enforcement. But this time, she couldn't spin the truth. Porch lights flicked on as evening settled. Neighbors whispered behind closed doors. Some had seen enough. Ava wasn't home. Her absence cut deeper than I wanted to admit. This was never just about protecting her anymore. It was about dismantling Cynthia's stage, using the same precision I used to debug networks. The system she trusted was about to turn into the trapdoor under her feet. A new day. I found Terrell at the community pool, the one spot Cynthia didn't haunt. Chlorine stung the air, kids splashed. Terrell was kneeling by the pump system, hands a little too tight on the wrench. "Morning," I said. He nodded, eyes glued to the clipboard. Neighbors passed by, pretending not to notice. I watched him check off a line, pen scratching so hard it nearly tore the page. His eyes lingered on the kids, then flicked to the security camera, angled wrong, like someone didn't want the entrance on record. He caught me noticing. Our eyes locked. That was the tell. He knew the system was a sham. His hand trembled when another board member strolled past. But when they were gone, his shoulders dropped, and I remembered what Rachel always said. Watch their hands. They give away the truth. I crouched beside the pump, close but not threatening. I saw what happened yesterday, I said, just loud enough for him. His grip faltered, metal clanking. Sweat beaded on his brow. He wanted to talk, just not yet. If you ever decide you've had enough, you know where I live, I told him. Not a threat, an open door. He didn't answer, but the pen froze above the page. That struggle mattered. The cracks in Cynthia's empire were showing, not just in paper violations, but in the people who kept her machinery running. That evening, another violation slip showed up: failure to maintain approved community image. She called out Rachel's oak tree, claimed its roots threatened the sidewalks. My sister's memorial, reduced to a bullet point in her war. I tore it down, marched straight to the HOA clubhouse. A model home turned fortress, every hedge clipped into submission. Inside, homeowners sat at Cynthia's table like supplicants before a queen. She lifted her head, red blazer sharp, eyes glinting behind those sunglasses she wore indoors. You'll need board approval to keep that oak, she sniffed. The others shifted, uncomfortable. They weren't board members, just more victims waiting for their turn. On my way out, I passed Terrell again, knuckles white on the clipboard. He wanted out, but fear chained him in place. That night, I opened the oversight portal again. Every camera in the county, live grid, pings, GPS, timestamps, found Ava's arrest. But something in the metadata, a secondary flag, unauthorized command override. My pulse jumped. Someone from inside the HOA network, not county dispatch, triggered the call. Cynthia, or her puppet. That wasn't just a violation. That was abuse of authority, maybe criminal. I copied the strings, saved them off-site. This was the lever to crack her machine. By dawn, I hunted for Terrell. Found him at the maintenance shed, face lined with worry, foot tapping the floor. This isn't gossip, I said, holding up a flash drive. It's data. Your president issued an override. From inside this HOA. He didn't deny it, just stared at the mower, his hands trembling. I was told it was protocol, he whispered, hating the words as they left his mouth. But protocol doesn't look like that. I left the drive on the bench. You don't have to take it. But if you keep covering, you're part of it. If you step forward, you help stop it. His hand hovered, then dropped. That was enough for now. A day passed. Just after dusk, a knock at my door. Terrell, sweat-soaked, clutching his clipboard like a shield. I saw the override, he said, barely above a whisper. She told me it was a shortcut, said she'd fix the paperwork after. She's been doing it for months. But yesterday with your niece, I can't stand by. He handed over a battered notepad, timestamps, her initials, her password, the missing thread. He shoved it into my hand and slipped away, fear and relief duking it out on his face. The next morning, I carried everything, logs, footage, Terrell's notes, to the downtown library, neutral ground. I mapped the evidence, overlays, incident reports, each thread leading back to Cynthia's office terminal. I mailed a packet to the county inspector. Redundancy is survival. The rest I kept for the board meeting, already scheduled for the weekend. Community Park, dusk before the meeting. I set up at a concrete table, started cutting the presentation. Neighbors drifted closer. At first just a couple, then more. I explained the overrides in plain English, showed the slips, the patterns. Mrs. Franklin clutched her sweater. She had my son ticketed last spring. It wasn't bad luck, I said. It was her. Terrell showed up, didn't speak, but nodded. That was the spark. Questions and anger bubbled up. How do we stop this? What if the county ignores us? We stand together, I said. Be there tomorrow night. Board meeting night. Parking lot full, neighbors lined up, tension thick. Cynthia at the head of the table, red blazer crisp. I entered last, laptop bag in hand. The air crackled. Perfume, coffee, nerves. She launched into her routine, but this time the crowd wouldn't sit quietly. A mother interrupted about her son's car. A man protested his lien. Cynthia brushed them off, but the murmurs grew. I stood up. I have evidence of unauthorized overrides, commands from this office leading to false enforcement, including the arrest of Ava Mercer. Gasps. Cynthia tried to shut me down, but I connected to the projector, footage on screen, metadata scrolling. Terrell's notes matched the logs. Cynthia snapped. This is out of context. Terrell stood, voice shaking. It's not out of context. I watched her do it. She told me it was protocol. I can't pretend anymore. Applause broke out. Neighbors shouted, waving violation slips. Cynthia pounded the table, shrieking for order, but it was drowned by the crowd. Vote her out. Vote her out. Finally, a board member stood. I moved to suspend Cynthia Bellamy pending review. The crowd erupted. Cynthia went pale, pen clattering to the table. Her mask cracked for good. We spilled out into the warm night, voices buzzing, shoulders lighter than I'd seen in months. Neighbors hugged, kids peeked from behind legs. No more fear. I leaned against my truck, exhaustion and vindication tangled together. Ava ran up, released after oversight officers intervened. Thanks to the packet I mailed. I thought you couldn't stop her, she whispered. I knelt. Rachel made me promise. I wasn't about to break that. Neighbors gathered under Rachel's oak, tracing the initials. I cast the footage one last time onto the house, not to shame Cynthia, but to remind the community what we'd reclaimed. They pledged to audit every past decision, to demand real elections. As the night settled, I breathed deep, free of her shadow. My skills exposed Cynthia, but it was the people, their stories, their outrage, their unity, that toppled her. And that's the victory. If you've ever stared down an HOA tyrant, or if you've got a story of your own, hit subscribe. Tell me where you're watching from. And let's talk. Was justice served, or did we just start a bigger fight? You know what I mean?